So most of the time I feel quite reluctant to start the new video because I don't feel like having enough material, enough information to talk about, but when I really prepare for the video, I understand that I have lots of stuff to talk about. Like I can always start with these readings, reading aloud my own poems, because this way I can recall the poems that I wrote, and I completely forgot most of the poems that I wrote somewhere in the middle section, because when I wrote my first poems, I was quite fascinated. Of course, I mean my translations. I was quite fascinated, and it was a very new experience for me. So I almost learned them by heart. I read them to anyone, and then when I started to translate the poems, just like a poem a day almost. Most of the poems that I translated during this period, I have already forgotten even the existence of this poem. So it's quite interesting experience to recall the stuff, reread it in the beginning of these lessons. Of course, I can describe the scripts written in Swift, what they do. Yeah, the syntax which is used in this scripts, and the idea behind the code. Of course, I can talk about the stuff like lectures that I listened to, started to listen to, like Impressionists, maybe philosophy, myths, all the stuff. I can, in 5 minutes I can explain the whole lecture that lasts for 30 minutes, because I can't remember more than the information for 5 minutes. And of course I can take these blocks of keywords from some topics, or just nouns or verbs, and go through them, recall the words that I already know but I never used, and this way I put them into my active vocabulary. The way I wanted to light all the stars in the skies of my passive vocabulary. Of course, there are lots of words that I can vaguely understand, or for which I can't find the synonym or the definition at all. For these words, I need the special special actions towards them. I need to translate them, create some sentences with them, put them into my vocabulary, and I need to put them in my active vocabulary from the beginning, without going through this passive stuff. Yeah, but I know lots of words that I need to activate, so it's easier to activate them than to learn new words. Well, I'm going to learn new words, but like the side quest. And of course, there is an idea of reading aloud some stuff from books like Atomic Habits, Kiyosaki Rich Poor Dad, and other stuff. I read it aloud, and I'm quite pleased to find out that I can read aloud most of the words, because I know not only the meaning behind these words, not only the translations, but the pronunciation. And the last idea that I have about this stuff, I can read like the paragraph and then I can retell it with my own words. Maybe I could recall a word or two from this paragraph and use it, and this way I can kind of put them in my active vocabulary, but it's not for the recording on the video, it's just for the like for everyday activity, like just I passed by and decided to read aloud, then I just retold this story without any pressure. It's like I can talk English for an hour a day, somewhere in the evening, or I can take this hour, divide it into 10 sessions by 10 minutes, and then by 6 minutes, and then I can talk 6 minutes each hour, and after 10 hours of activity I will have the same hour of talking, but my brain constantly will be prepared for talking, will be aware of this stuff, so it's more useful. Of course, it's better to talk an hour in the evening than never talk during the day, but if I have the possibility to talk 6 minutes each hour, it's even better than to talk for the whole hour. Anyway, I wanted to say that this video is number 67. I'm going to start it with reading aloud some of the poems. So let's do this. What is it? Вознесенский. Never leave me on my own, I can hear you everywhere, like the echo here and there. Okay, never leave me on my own, I can hear you everywhere, like the echo here and there. Never leave me on my own. You're with me for good, my land. Like my old playground friend, never leave me on my own, never let me stay alone. You will always understand me, personally beloved land. With white birches rustling gently like the keys beneath my hand. Neither wits nor pure insight can conceive your motherland. Nobody will comprehend or compute what's on your mind. Lots of hardships come and go, never leave me on my own. Life's a struggle, bring it on. Just don't leave me on my own. You will always understand me, peacefully beloved land, with white birches rustling gently like the keys beneath my hand. If you're gone, then all the tones, words and phrases lose their touch. I won't leave you on your own. Life, I fancy you so much. I'm not guided by my mind, but my heart leads me about. You know well, I'll never die. I'll become one with the ground. You will always understand me, peacefully beloved land, with white birches rustling gently like the keys beneath my hand. Okay, let's go with this Bogdanovich's stuff. Within Egyptian land, so dry and hot, beside the Nile, which carries its blue waters, there stands the temple devoted to a goddess. Within they found some grains inside the pot. Despite the grains were dry for 1,000 years, the living force which waited in a slumber awakened to the spring sounds of the thunder, and graced the fields with lots of gold wheat ears. Here is your sign, forgotten land of fathers. I hope a people's spirit which we bothered to shake up will not fall asleep again, but it will hurry forward like the torrent, which managed to emerge through soil and sand, and now it rushes forth so loud and potent. Next will be, Kupala's poem. Oh, the residents knew the Gusliar's gusli well, his thought singing pierced right to the essence. Lots of marvelous legends and strange tales dwell in the sites where this thought marked its presence. It's believed as he steps forward and starts to play on his strings with his ruthless, frank singing, then the sleep goes away, and the pain mitigates, and the aspens, the oaks, stop the crinkling. Then the woods do not squeak, then the elk does not pass, and the nightingale pauses its warbles. Midst the odors, the stream runs not making a fuss, and the roaches hide floats under waters. In the marshes stand still the raccoons, cranes, and minks, no more shrill wailing cries of the plover. The gusliar's thoughtful touch of his marvelous string makes the fern flaunt its mythical flower. Of his marvelous strings. Okay, I have the feeling that I remade some of the lines from this poem and I made it better, so I need to collect these lines and then I will read it someday in the in its latest edition. Okay, I have more poems to read, so maybe I'll go with this one. Bogdanovich's again. She has been taken for the fashion from her loved parents and her friends and locked inside the master's mansion to weave his precious golden belts. And during all those heavy labors, abandoning her girlish dreams, she works as hard as other slave girls and braids the oriental schemes. Behind the walls the birds are singing, the sun is shining in the sky. Her thoughts reach out, without thinking, towards some place where spring has come. The air's transparent like a crystal, the river flows around the hill, the ears of wheat gleam in the distance, lots of cornflowers grace the field. The pine trees stand, not ever fading, forgetting Persian ornaments, and lost in thoughts, the weavers braiding the blue cornflowers of her lands. Okay, and maybe the last one for today will be this one. Let's go. Again, it's Bogdanovich's poem. Once my heart will become very frightened of the fate of that homeland of mine, then the same gate of dawn and the riders on the horses will come to my mind. The white horses rush forward insanely, they whiz badly, they hurry, they trot. The Pagonia of great old Lithuania can be crushed, can be held, can be stopped. You fly forth to the infinite distance, outrunning the years in your chase. Who are those you pursue? What's the difference of the roads that you choose on your way? Belarus, maybe they left the prudence in pursuit of your daughters and sons, who sold out, who betrayed you like Judas, who surrendered you and who renounced. Pierce their hearts with the swords, with the missiles. Never let them be strangers at will. Make their hearts feel the sorrow while missing the white stock flying over the mill. Dear country, the land of my fathers. This champagne won't be ever at ease. You forgive, you accept like a mother. Let your son give his life for you, please. The white horses fly through the centennials, and the hooves drum like thousands gunshot, like 1,000 gunshots. The pagonia of great Lithuania can be crushed, can be held, can be stopped. Okay, and now I can move towards the programming stuff. Yeah, I have this is narcissistic function. It takes one parameter of type int64 and returns some bool variable. First, we count the number of digits in this parameter, in this and this number that was passed as the parameter to the function. We put this number, we put the number of the digits into the power constant, into the constant power. Then we perform something else. We take each of the numbers of the digits from this number and convert it into, well, actually we convert the number into the array where each element is the digit from this number. Then we take each digit in turn and okay, so digits, repeat digits count, and we calculate a new number, a new variable, which is this digit to the power that we calculated. So basically we take the first digits and calculate it like the first digit to the power, which is the number, the total number of the digits. Yes. And we put this product into some new variable which starts with which was initialized with 0. Then we take the second digit and calculate it to the power of the total number of the digits, and we add this product to this sum accumulator, and this way we go through all the digits, calculate each of the digits to this power, which is the same because the number of the digits stays the same. We add all the products, and then we get the total sum, and in the end we check that this sum is equal to the initial number, and the return number, the return we return bool from this function, and this bool says whether the sum that we calculated is equal to the initial number or whether they are different. Okay, next. The next function is called duplicate encode. It takes some word of the type string and it returns some string, something encoded. First, so in this function I can see that I can create local variable of the same name as the parameter, and this local variable will shadow the parameter. So we take the word as the parameter, we lowercase all the letters, and we assign this variable to the new constant, which we call word as well. We have the dictionary, which maps some character to some int. I can guess that we take the characters from the word and we calculate the number of the characters, how many times each character can be found in this word. So we take each character, from this word, and we use this syntax sugar maybe when for each new character we set the default of 0, the default int. For each new key of the type character, we set the value of type int to 0, and if the character was set before, we increase this value variable by 1. Yeah, as I said, we get the amount of characters, the amount we get, how many times each character was found in this word, and then we do some encoding. Again, we go through this word again, we take each of the characters, and if the character was found only once in the word, we encode it with the open paren. Otherwise, we encode it with the closed paren. Well, actually, we have the empty string, and if the next character in the string is not unique, then we use the closed param as the next element of this newly created string. If the character is unique, then we use the open param, and then we just return this string that consists of open and closed params that we created. Again, let's go. Another function, it is called find it. Find it. Okay, we have some sequence, which is the array of ints, and in the end we return some int variable. I solved this problem this way. I created the dictionary that maps int to int. Then I go through all the through all the numbers in this sequence array, sec array. Okay, I could use this syntax sugar again, but obviously I solved this function before I learned that syntax sugar about the default 0 for the first, if we encounter, if we put some key in the dictionary for the first time, but here I just solved it the way I can solve it in Pascal or in C without any special functions. So we put, the numbers into the dictionary, and we set the quantity of these numbers in the whole array. Then we go through all the keys, which means through all the numbers, and if the dictionary key, the value of this particular key is odd, then we return this key. I remember now. I think in the description of the task was something like, we have the dictionary that consists of even numbers and only one number is odd, and we need to find, oh no, it's more like we have the dictionary with the numbers, and most of the numbers, most of the numbers can be found in the array the even number of time, which means, let's say we have 2 2s, 4 4s, and so on, and only one number can be found odd number of times. Like we have 3, and we can find it 3 times, or 5 we can find it 5 times, and we need to find which number can be encountered this odd number of times. And I created the dictionary where I put the quantity of each number, and then I went through the dictionary, and where the quantity was odd, then I returned the value, the key, which was this particular number. But there is the super best practice. We just can use reduce, starting with 0, and use this like XOR operator, and this XOR operator takes all the elements from the array, and it XORs each 2 elements, and because only one number stands out, it will be returned in the end. All other numbers who has a pair will be like annihilated or negated. Like 1 and 1 will give, like bits 1 and 1 will give 0, and in the end the number that will remain after this operation will be the number that we need to find. Well, actually, I couldn't think about this solution for myself, but it's really cool when I know the idea behind the solution. Next, extension. Extension. Yeah, I think the extension was provided by the quest giver, task giver, and we have binary trigger. Well, actually, I have almost forgotten what is the extension. But anyway, yeah, an extension is the thing. It's like we can define something new for the particular method. Anyway, we define two extensions, like is even to variable. We define one extension for binary integer, but it contains two properties. We define them as var is even returns and is odd, they returns bool, and we define them as is even as is multiply of 2, which is the inner function, library function for this division, which I usually do by the percent operator, and then I compare to 0. And is odd is defined as not is even. Very interesting, very library high level definition. Yeah, without all this very low level arithmetic. And again, yes, there is a best practice to use the functions that were created, then just create your own functions, because these functions were introduced, they were tested, and they will remain the same while the content may change, and your code will work because you used the function, but it can break if you just used your own code, which can be changed in the future. So our function is find outlier. It takes array of ints, it return int, which is first occurrence of something in the another array, and we take first even from first even, second even, third even. Okay, they are all the booleans because we check that first element is even, second element is even, and the third element of the array is even. Then we have some condition, like if first and the second elements are both even, like 2 and 4. If first and the third elements are both even, like 2 and 6. Or if second and third elements are both even, like 4 and 6, then we filter the elements. Okay. And why I did this? If first, okay, I think if 2 of the first three elements of the array are even, then we need to find the first odd element. Yeah, but if it's not the case, which means we have this, we can have like this 2, 4, 6, and then the condition will be fulfilled. Even in the first, we can have 2, 4, 5. We can have 2, 3, 6. We can have 1, 4, 6. Yeah. So if 2 of the first 3 elements of the array are even, or if all 3 first elements of the array are even, that we need to find the first odd element. It can be the first, the second, the third, or the fourth element of the array. If we don't have this condition, like so if we have all 3 elements, all the first 3 elements to be odd, or 2 of them are odd, yeah, which is the mirrored condition from this first branch, then we are looking for the even element. And in the end, we just return this first element. Well, actually, in the first branch, in the if branch, we filter, we get all odd elements from the array. In the else branch, we filter all even elements from the array, but in the end we just return the first element of this filtered array. So we have the universal solution. Yeah, that returns the right first element based on some conditions. Well, that's quite interesting, because I have extension here and I have these definitions from the library, like is multiple, and then like negative definition, not is even. And right now I'm going for a small break, and I continue after some pause. Well, I continue my video after taking the chicken from the freezer and putting it in the pot. First, I waited until the pot started to boil, and now it will be cooking for 15 minutes. So this way I have about 15 minutes to finish this video. I'm not going to do the videos about an hour long, and to record these videos only once a week. My ultimate goal is to do kind of half an hour video every day. So for this 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about the stuff that I watched in the lectures. And well, up to this date, I rewatched first two lectures on the Impressionists. Impressionists. And the lecturer made the introduction in the first lecture about the history of the Impressionists, of Impressionism. Actually, he made the historical, he showed the historical picture of the art somewhere in 1830s, 1840s, right at the threshold of the Impressionism. So there were two major branches of painting, two major trends in this art. And first one was the classicism, the significant representative of this branch was Anger, and he painted a huge painting about the inheritance of Homer. So he painted Homer sitting on the throne in the center of the picture, and then he painted around Homer great Greeks and Romans, and then the contemporary artists, painters, writers, maybe musicians. This way, Anger showed that all the contemporary art of France was based on the ancient Greek culture, that the huge building of the art that existed in France in the 19th century was built upon the Renaissance art, upon the medieval art, and of course the foundation for it was the Roman and Greece cultures. Another branch of art, of painting at the time, was the Romanticism. Okay, Romanticism, and its bright representative was Delacroix. He created a picture of lion hunt. Nothing classical about this stuff, just somewhere in Africa, the natives, those who, the dwellers, were hunting the lion. Some of them were on the back of the horses, some of them were on foot, and so on. And there was some critic in France, in Paris, who drew the cartoon about this kind of holy war between the classicists and the romanticists, and at that moment the realists appeared, and both classicists and romantists were moved to the side of being the idealists, and the realists kind of created their own holy war against this side, and they started to depict the real life around them, not something from the ancient history, not something that the painter imagined the way it should be in Africa, in America, and so on, but something real, like people around them, the landscape around them, the city around them. And one, maybe the first or the most significant realist in France was Courbet. He painted his huge painting with some strange name, and he painted himself as the painter in it. There was a woman as the model, and he painted the landscape, and there were different types of people, rich people and poor people in this picture, and they were all from the real settings around him. And there was this huge saloon that existed, that was opened each year since Louis the 14th introduced this saloon stuff. And this saloon was the second hugest place to represent the contemporary paintings after the Italian saloons, because the Italians were the heirs of the Renaissance, of the Romans, like Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Raphael, and France became the second greatest nation that has had lots of artists, paintings, and so on. And these huge exhibitions existed since Louis the 14th, and all the artists tried to get the invitation and exhibit the pictures there. But Courbet, at some particular year, somewhere in 1850s, was not invited to this salon. So he rented the pavilion across this salon, and he just exhibited his own paintings in this pavilion. And this was basically the beginning of the Impressionists exhibitions. Not this particular one, but the way Courbet separated his art from the salon art that was the government art, the art of France of the time. And he made his own exhibitions, and later the Impressionists created his own exhibitions. So I think in these 10 minutes I described, maybe it was just 5 minutes, I described the content of the first lecture, the prerequisites for the arts, of the culture in France, in Paris in particular. Like, yeah, right before the Impressionism appeared in Paris. Well, actually, I think the lecturer told a lot of stuff about the description of these pictures and about other notes, but actually I don't remember them, or I just can't retell them the way he did, because maybe I should just learn by heart all his lines. This way I could say at least the half of the stuff that he taught, but from my memory I can tell only what I can. Actually, I can tell the stuff just because I remember the paintings that he showed, and I used them as the the pools, around which I can create my talks. So I'm not going into the other lectures because I will leave it for tomorrow and for the day after tomorrow. Maybe I can go to another poem. Why not? Again, Bogdanovich's one. Venus, the star, shines above the horizon, making the bright thoughts arrive. Do you remember when we met each other? Venus, the star, shone above. That's when I started to look for a Venus in the night sky, when the stars shone above. That's when I felt the attraction between us. That's when I started to love. But it is time to depart permanently. Maybe we're doomed to be always apart. I love you so much, I kiss you so gently, but it is time to depart. In that unknown distant place, I will dream us, holding each other in a soft embrace. Every night I'll fix my eyes on a Venus, in that unknown distant place. From time to time, look at it from the distance. That's where our glances will finally meet, so that our love will arise for an instant. From time to time, look at it. Well, that's not bad, really. Another one. The translation of the song. My little hero is asleep. He sees the colored dream. He didn't finish his milk tea, which is awaiting him. He always dreams of what he loves, the endless magic land, the woods, the mountains, the stars, the grass, the ice, the sand. His fairy will approach the room, not leaving any trails. Then she will cast the portal to the world of fairy tales. You'll meet young Arthur standing near the sword stuck in the stone, and Captain Jack will let you steer the black pearl through the storm. Together you dig out the gold inside the pirate's cave. Then you destroy the cage that holds the princess to be saved. First she'll present you with the dance, which starts the royal ball, and then you'll get the lucky chance to kiss her at the hall. Soon all the guests will run outside to watch the fireworks. The laughs and yells will fill the night up to the pine tree tops. You and your princess will depart to walk around the lake, where you'll exchange each other's hearts at the first touch of day. With no exceptions, dreams come true, and many years ago I was exactly just like you, my fast asleep hero. I always dreamed to reach the stars and fly from east to west. I loved my dad and my grandpa, my mother was the best, and I decided to myself what I would what I would find out next. If smoking really felt so well, and when I could have sex. But I grew up enough at last, and at that very time, my lovely princess turned to dust, and my good fairy died. My little hero is asleep, he sees the colored dream, and soon he'll board the 10 years ship, which is awaiting him. His dreams are yellow, blue, and red, like flowers in the bed, and by the window some stray cat performs the night concert. Well, I'm really pleased with the way it sounds. In the beginning, it's really heavy. I have the troubles to read it kind of musically, but in the end, it sounds very natural, like the speech without these stops, without these very difficult sentences. And I think this is the end for today. And if I'm not mistaken, this will be my video number 67. So